The sun glinted off the crystal-clear skies of Miami as Maya Harris, a 34-year-old self-made billionaire, stood with unwavering confidence. She was no ordinary woman. Having built an empire from the ground up, Maya had shattered every ceiling put before her. Her life was a testament to hard work, resilience, and the relentless pursuit of excellence. As the soft rays of the morning sun reflected off her sleek gold watch, a symbol of both her journey and her triumphs, she took a steady breath and glanced toward the jet waiting to take her to New York. Maya was dressed to perfection, the tailored navy suit hugging her figure in all the right places. She exuded both elegance and power, a force to be reckoned with in every room she entered. Today's mission was simple: a business trip to New York to close another multi-million-dollar deal. But Maya knew better than anyone that life rarely handed out easy victories. Despite her achievements, the weight of systemic prejudice always loomed over her, sometimes quietly, sometimes loudly. She had long grown accustomed to the small slights, the sideways glances, the disbelief in others' eyes when they saw the reality of her success. But today felt different. Today, she could sense something in the air, an undercurrent of disdain she couldn't quite shake. And as she approached her private jet, that feeling intensified. She noticed a group of uniformed crew members standing off to the side, their hushed conversations and furtive glances speaking volumes. The tension was palpable. At the front of the group stood Captain Gregory Ford, a man whose cold demeanor was as rigid as his narrow perspective. His piercing blue eyes scrutinized Maya, his gaze full of skepticism, as if her presence on the jet was an anomaly in a world where people like her simply didn't belong. She could almost hear the unspoken judgment in the air around them. When Maya reached the base of the jet stairs, Captain Ford's expression barely shifted. With a tight, insincere smile, he stepped forward, blocking her path. "I'm sorry, ma'am," he said, his voice dripping with feigned politeness. "This jet is reserved for VIPs. Perhaps there's been a misunderstanding." Maya's stance was unshakable, her gaze cold and piercing as she met his eyes. "There is no misunderstanding," she replied, her voice clear and unwavering. "I am the VIP. My name is Maya Harris." Captain Ford blinked, his expression betraying a brief moment of disbelief before he managed to conceal it with a smug smirk. "Right," he said, dragging out the word. "Let me double-check the details. In the meantime, you can wait in the lounge." He gestured to a nearby building, his tone still dripping with condescension, as though Maya were an imposter in a place that she didn't belong. Behind Maya, her trusted assistant, Liam Scott, stiffened with barely contained fury. He was ready to step in, to defend Maya against the blatant disrespect. But Maya raised a hand, signaling him to hold his ground. She would handle this in her own way. With a quiet, yet powerful gesture, she turned away and walked toward the lounge, each step measured and deliberate, her heart pounding with quiet indignation. Inside the lavish lounge, Maya sank into one of the plush leather chairs. The opulence around her, the gleaming crystal chandeliers, the polished marble floors, did little to soothe the sting of the confrontation. She pulled out her phone, her fingers moving swiftly as she dialed her legal team. Her voice was steady, though beneath the calm, a storm of anger was brewing. "They're questioning my ownership of the jet," Maya said. "I need a plan for immediate action. We'll make sure this doesn't go unnoticed." Across the room, Liam stood by the floor-to-ceiling windows, his eyes narrowed as he watched the crew. They stood outside, laughing, their gestures exaggerated. Maya could see the way they mocked her, their arrogance now on full display. Liam clenched his fists, his frustration palpable, but Maya kept her composure. She knew how to play the long game. This moment, though deeply offensive, was just one more opportunity to demonstrate her strength. Time seemed to stretch, each minute dragging on longer than the last. An hour passed, the weight of every second pressing down on Maya's shoulders. The room felt suffocating, but she remained calm, focused. Finally, the doors to the lounge opened. Captain Ford walked in, his smug expression intact, though there was a faint unease in his step. "Unfortunately, the jet's owner isn't available at the moment," he said, pretending to show regret. Maya rose from her chair with a smooth, graceful motion. There was no doubt in her mind. This would be settled now. "Good," she said, her voice as cold and controlled as ever. "We'll discuss this now." Without waiting for his response, she strode past him, her heels clicking sharply against the marble floor. Liam followed, his loyalty and determination as unwavering as her own. Together, they approached the jet, their presence commanding and undeniable. The moment they stepped onto the tarmac, the air shifted. There was no more pretending. As Maya reached the steps of the jet, she reached into her bag and retrieved her credentials. Without a word, she held them out before Captain Ford and his crew. The impact was immediate. The crew froze, their faces draining of color as the truth of the situation hit them like a wave. "This is your jet?" Captain Ford stammered, his previously confident expression now replaced with an uneasy pallor. "Indeed," Maya replied, her voice sharp and unwavering. "And as of now, you and your team are dismissed. Gather your things and leave, immediately." The crew members shuffled away, their arrogance replaced with shame as they realized the full extent of their mistake. Maya stood at the top of the jet stairs, her gaze steady and unyielding as she watched them leave. The satisfaction of the moment was sweet, but it wasn't enough. It never was. Maya had learned long ago that real justice required action, not just retribution. Once the crew had disappeared, Maya allowed herself a brief smile of satisfaction. But she wasn't done yet. Pulling out her phone once more, Maya contacted her public relations team. Within minutes, cameras were set up to document the crew's departure. The footage captured the crew's humiliation, and as the cameras rolled, Maya stood tall, her presence a powerful image of justice. She knew the world was watching, and she was ready to make her statement. The viral video soon spread like wildfire, sparking conversations worldwide about systemic racism and discrimination. People rallied behind her, not just because she was a billionaire, but because they saw in her a reflection of their own struggles that were, far too often, dismissed or ignored. The incident became a powerful example of what happens when prejudice meets resilience. The airline, in a desperate attempt to save face, issued a public apology. Their statement was filled with vague promises and corporate jargon, but Maya knew it wasn't enough. She wouldn't allow them to deflect responsibility. She would make them listen. The next day, Maya held a press conference. As cameras flashed, she addressed the global audience with poise and authority. "This isn't just about me," she began, her voice calm but firm, each word deliberate. "Even with wealth and success, we are not immune to prejudice. This is a systemic issue, and it's time we confront it head-on." Her words resonated deeply, sparking a wave of support that rippled across the globe. It was more than just a moment of outrage. It was the beginning of something much larger. People from all walks of life, from every corner of the world, came forward to share their own experiences and to demand change. 2 weeks later, Maya launched a new initiative called Open Horizons, aimed at making the aviation industry more inclusive and equitable. The mission was clear: to open doors for underrepresented groups and dismantle the barriers that had long held them back. The program offered scholarships for aspiring pilots from marginalized backgrounds, mandated diversity training for airline staff, and created mentorship opportunities to help young people break into the industry. The response was overwhelming. Letters poured in from former crew members, eager to join the movement and contribute to the change that Maya was spearheading. She welcomed them with open arms, knowing that their insights and experiences would be instrumental in driving real, lasting transformation. As for Captain Ford and his crew, their careers came to a screeching halt. The public outrage over their actions ensured that they became cautionary tales, reminders that discrimination, no matter how subtle or systemic, has consequences. No one, not even those with power, could escape accountability. On Maya's first flight under open horizons, she boarded her jet, now staffed by a diverse and enthusiastic crew. Each face reflected her commitment to equality, her belief that everyone should have an equal chance to soar. As she settled into her seat and gazed out at the endless horizon, Maya knew that this journey wasn't just about reaching New York. It was about breaking down barriers, about creating a world where every person, regardless of their race, gender, or background, had the chance to rise. Her actions had changed the course of her own life, and the lives of countless others, forever. Maya Harris had shown the world what true resilience looked like. She had faced humiliation, but she had emerged triumphant. And in doing so, she had opened the skies for everyone.